to a brand new episode of Wrestling with Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host, Armando.
Hi, I'm Armando, and welcome to a new episode of Wrestling with Siblings.
And we are going to steal a catchphrase here, but, we didn't plan this, but we just realized that our initials or our abbreviations are WWS. So what does WWS stand for, Armando?
Wrestling with Siblings! So now, it's time to silence your cell phones.
And hold your applause until the very end, okay? And yes, we did steal Elias's catchphrase, but I don't know if we'll be using it very often. But let's get started into the show. And before we do that, really quickly, thank you for joining us this week as well. We'll have our predictions for SummerSlam posted next week. Stay tuned for that video because it is going to be super interesting to see what Armando and I agree on, what we disagree on when it comes to SummerSlam. So let's get started with Raw. So Monday Night Raw starts off with Kurt Angle and Bootleg Corporate Kane. They open up the show, and again, like always, Roman has to be a part of the beginning of the show, so he interrupts. One of the quotes that he mentioned throughout the show that caught my attention was, "If you kick the big dog out, who will protect the yard?" So I don't know how I feel about this because, as we know, last week he got kicked out of the arena, and that's when Brock Lesnar comes out and he attacked Kurt Angle and he attacked Paul Heyman. Him protecting the yard, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people that go through, like, a lot on the main roster, and he doesn't come out and help them. The only person he ever comes out and helps is Seth Rollins
or Dean, if Dean
would
have been.
And Dean, but I understand why. I mean, they were part of the Shield, but where's his help when somebody else needs it? You know what I mean?
That's true, and another thing, too, that I don't like about the Roman using "this is my yard," I feel that we're too attached with that with Undertaker, because he was the one that started using that first. So I personally don't like that. Then it's just my opinion on that. It's just another reason why he just doesn't get over with the crowd. I think it's because of things like that.
So far, like, what do you think about the reactions he's been getting from the crowd lately against Brock?
Mixed reactions. I think it's mixed reactions just because the fact that Brock Lesnar hasn't showed up and hasn't been there has really pushed Roman into getting those mixed reactions, because when he comes out and talks about Brock Lesnar, or the times he's confronted him, it's just he gets that reaction, and I feel it's just because Brock Lesnar is not there most of the time.
But here's another thing as well, like, yeah, he's getting the reaction now because, like you said, Brock isn't there on, like, a weekly basis, right? But what if Roman were to win the Universal Championship? What happens then? Does he continue with his, mixed reaction type thing? Because anywhere he goes, he either gets booed or he gets the mixed reaction. He doesn't get the good, complete reaction. It's always mixed. It's either good and bad, or it's just bad. So, if he becomes Universal Champion, is he still going to be getting the heavy boos, or is he still going to get the mixed reactions here and there? But you gotta look at it this way. No matter what, the boos always outlast the good ones. So it just kind of depends.
It depends, and he's also got to start carrying some of the matches. And I think that's going to be a huge factor on him getting the crowd to cheer him on. Because, like, on this week's match against Baron Corbin, we really didn't see Roman carry the match. It was mostly
Corbin.
It was Baron
carrying
Corbin
and dominating the match.
And lately, it's been like that with any other of the superstars that face Roman. So it's just he has to start carrying the matches and prove to people that he can really carry a match. Because if you notice, like I said, every time he faces Brock Lesnar just completely dominates him, and
he comes out with his spear Superman punch.
Yeah.
and then that's all he does in the entire match.
And again, we're not bashing on Roman or anything. It's just the matter. It's just facts. If you look at a match, he really doesn't carry the match.
And yeah, he performs, and in my opinion, depending on who you put him with, like he's had matches with like Seth, and I believe, you know, he's had matches with like so many other people. It depends who you put him with. He does deliver, you know, and I will give him credit where credit is due, but his matches against Brock Lesnar are not at the level that they should be, especially with the powerhouse that you have, who is Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? He should be getting, and especially because they want him to be the face of the company, he should be getting and having like more moves, and he should be, you know, carrying the matches and his own promos and all this other stuff, which obviously is things we haven't seen just yet. So after the match ended, Finn Balor attacks Baron Corbin. What do you think about that, though?
I think it's just that WWE is doing this just to push over Finn Balor, even though he hasn't had the push he really needs.
After coming back from his injury, I
think this is going to be his
major breakout.
His major breakout, if anything. Like I said, he's just been floating around. I really like Corbin, what they've been doing. You know, now he's that type that's been carrying the matches. You know, just his aggression, being the bootleg corporate Kane, and being part of the so-called authority right now, which eventually he's going to be part of the authority, which he kind of already is.
He already is.
It's really helping his career out.
I have to agree with everything you just said. That is just, hey, they've been doing a pretty good job, but like I said, I do still find it kind of weird. I'm still not used to the fact of seeing him, you know, come out with like the suits and being like in the backstage area rather than seeing him wrestle. But they have been giving him matches, so you really can't complain.
But I really liked him when he was the lone wolf.
Yeah, because he was different. He had something else to bring to the table, kind of like Elias, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah. And then another thing too, he was the Andre the Giant
Memorial Battle Royal winner at some point, right?
Yeah. So he did get a huge push.
And he won the Money in the Bank, which was unsuccessfully cashed in.
With Jinder, which he was one of the last two with Mojo. Which we'll get into later, but you know, just the fact that the Andre the Giant memorial
and the Money in the Bank, you know, puts him. It really puts him out there though. Like it shows that they had at some point faith in him, and I feel like they're trying to recuperate that by putting him as the bootleg corporate king. Sorry.
Yeah, and then look what happened this year. I believe it was Matt Hardy that won it.
Yeah.
And what happened, and he's tag team champion. So whoever wins that tournament
is destined for greatness.
Is destined for a great run in the WWE.
Eventually, at some point.
Whatever
it is, whether it's like a singles competition or whether it's tag team, Amano thinks they're destined for greatness, and trust me.
Well, I mean, it's proven. I mean, look at the past couple winners that have won it.
But also look at somebody like Braun Strowman, who won the Greatest Royal Rumble, and now he's Money in the Bank. Yeah. So you do have a point there. You know, like, we don't look at these small little battle royals as something big, but it turns out to be like, hey, that's my next person. That's the next person that I'm picking.
So does that mean that whoever wins the greatest Royal Rumble, are they going to be the winner for Money in the Bank?
That doesn't necessarily mean that, but
it could happen.
It could happen. Like, it doesn't mean it's gonna happen every single year, but hey, it's just a fact to point out that Braun Strowman did win the Greatest Royal Rumble, and then he won Money in the Bank, and now he's on the verge of either keeping it or losing it. But we'll get more into that a little bit later. Let's get into the second match of the night, though. Somebody we haven't seen in a while, and I was wondering where he was. Like, we saw him on TV, I think last week is when we saw him, but I don't think he had a match. Bobby Roode versus Mojo Rawley. What are they doing with Bobby Roode? Like, this guy, his momentum that he had down in NXT was brilliant. He comes up to the main roster. He was doing good on SmackDown. He was on TV weekly. He gets drafted to Raw, and then it just kind of has gone nowhere.
Yeah, it died from there. They should have just kept him in SmackDown, in my opinion.
I mean, honestly, what storyline has he had since coming to Raw? Because I cannot remember. I have tried to remember, but I can't. What storyline has he had? If you guys remember, please let us know in the comments below, and we'll talk more about it on next week's. But I really, do not remember him having a proper storyline since coming to Raw. I think this might be the very first storyline that he's had.
Yeah. Against Mojo.
Yeah.
And another thing, too, like I was saying, Mojo, he won the Andre the Giant Memorial at
33, I think. I want to say WrestleMania 33 in Orlando, right?
Orlando.
Yeah.
And look at him now. He's getting, a couple years later, he's getting that push. And he had a little streak of wins, and he faced a great superstar like Bobby Roode, and he lost. So that kind of makes all his I'm not saying that the other guys are jobbers that he faced, but he really faced his true competition, and he wasn't able to come up. I mean, the match was great, but he really didn't show anything else. He lost, and at the end of the day, what talks is the wins.
Yeah. Well, you do have a point there, and I was talking about Bobby Roode earlier. I wanted to say, after his feud with Jinder, he hasn't had a proper storyline, sorry. So just wanted to say, after that storyline, he hasn't really had a legit storyline. He's been off TV for a couple of weeks now, and it sucks because, like I said earlier, he was getting this big, insane push. He was doing super good down in SmackDown Live, and then it just vanished, And then Mojo, I feel like, how do I say this, Armando? Help me out here.
That his feud with Bobby Roode was gonna help him out to see what he's actually made of, to see if he could handle those big matches.
Yeah, exactly. And one of his biggest feuds, one of the ones that actually got me into Mojo, was the one that he had with Zack Ryder. Remember last year, I believe is when it was? And going from Zack Ryder, he was kind of just lost from there. He didn't really have anything to fight towards, and now he's fighting people like Bobby Roode, and I really hope to see him fight, even bigger people, and hopefully go for, a championship or something. Even if it's not, a big championship, like the Universal Championship, he could kind of go for, what's in Raw right now? The Intercontinental?
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's what I'd like to see happen eventually, because he has gone through so much to get to this point now. Okay, so leaving that behind, let's get into someone who's super, super interesting, Elias. He has his own documentary, which we saw, which it was pretty good, but I was just disappointed at the fact that they didn't show more of his meet and greet or his superstore signing that he had at WrestleMania. It's kind of really, you have to show the fans at some point. They showed a little bit of the line, but they didn't really show everything. We were there, so you guys missed an iconic moment for those of you who weren't there.
I think that's why we're kind of disappointed at the document. It's not that it was bad, it's just the fact that we were hoping we would come out.
Yeah. It was
on the documentary.
No, it was a really good documentary. Do not get me wrong. It was good, but I wanted to see more of the fans. Even if we didn't come out, I wanted to see people meeting Elias. And one of the coolest things is we were waiting in that line, right? And somebody said, "Say it louder for the people in the back." And then Elias was like, what did he say? "Shut your mouth, this is my show," is what he said. And then we were just like, damn, everybody starts laughing in line. That would have been a really cool moment to see. And even if they didn't want to air that, he broke character when he did meet Armando. He's a heel.
Long story.
You don't really see him break character. He's usually heel. You don't see him as anything else other than a heel. And at this moment, Armando, if you want to explain, it happened.
Yeah, so one day, just super random, um, I thought of an idea of making a sign that said, Elias, for those that don't know, Elias, WWE stands for Walk with Elias. So I decided to come up with, I walked with Elias, and I got lost, and he came actually here to San Jose. I believe it was Raw, and
Yeah.
I took the sign.
In February.
Yeah, and I took the sign, and I was hoping for him to really see it, and he didn't get a chance to see it. I was holding it up, and what sucks is that when he comes out, he comes out with the lights off, and he has a spotlight on him.
So it's harder.
It's harder for you,
yeah.
And I wanted to show, and I wanted it to show on TV. So with my dedication, I decided to take it to WrestleMania, this year's WrestleMania.
We found a way to take it over there, getting it safe and sound.
Yeah, I had to take everything to. I had to repair the sign a couple times, to be honest.
Yeah, we did. We had to do that.
I took it, and we found out Elias was gonna be in one of the access sessions, and he was gonna be signing at the Superstore. So we're all excited, and on the documentary when they show the line.
That's when that moment I was talking about earlier.
Moment she was talking about. So I'm all anxious in line, and I was like hiding the sign, and
Yeah, because he wanted it to be a full surprise. Like those that were here in San Jose were like, "Hey, can I take a picture of your sign? Can I take a picture? With you and the sign." And so it was really, really popular. And then, when we went to New Orleans, we were like, okay, well, we can't let anybody see it until one, we meet Elias, and two, until WrestleMania, it has to be something that people haven't seen yet.
Yeah, so we're getting closer to the line, and I just get a little nervous because I don't know what his reaction's gonna be. So finally, they bring out the sign, and everybody's like, "Oh, cool sign," and we get to the front with Elias, and he sees it, and he kind of gets like a little smirk, and it just kind of like nods his head.
It's kind of like he wanted to laugh, but he knew he was in character, so he didn't laugh. But you can see the smirk and the smile on his face, and he just shook his head. He didn't say a word. Armando said, "Can I take a picture? Can we take a picture with you with our sign?" And then he was like, "Yeah." And then that's basically all he said. And at this moment, cameras from WWE are coming over. They're taking pictures with our phone. I will post the picture. You should be seeing it on your screen right about now, so that you guys can take a look at what that picture actually looks like. And it's really cool because it made it onto the WWE website, and it made it onto the WWE WrestleMania Facebook page. But it was really cool because
it's just that moment that we made him break
character, because of a sign.
And he thought it was pretty creative. So I don't know. That was just the story behind my sign. Like I said, I was pretty excited, and the coolest part is that he got to sign it.
Oh yeah, it's signed.
So that poster's gonna be legendary. The sign.
No one's allowed to touch that poster. It's insane. But anyways, getting back into where we were, I love his character. I feel like it's something different from what we've seen. Like, yeah, we've seen The Rock perform before. We've seen like Jericho try to do it, but it's not the same. It's completely different with Elias,
I would like to see Elias versus The Rock go off at it with the guitars. That would be great. I know The Rock likes to play guitar, but
you'd like to see them encounter each other with the guitars.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty interesting.
They'll talk so much trash to each other. It would be great. It would be awesome.
Kind of like The Rock did to Vicky.
Exactly. That's where I was gonna go. You read my mind. That's what I was thinking. So I don't know. It's just something. Rock, if you're listening to this, hopefully you do. Keep that in mind.
I don't know. Maybe soon. Maybe like at a WrestleMania or something.
Hopefully.
And like from what I saw in his documentary and at this Raw that just passed this week, that guy's a creative genius. He knows what he wants, and he knows how he's gonna get it. And seeing like his documentary, the way it was made, and then seeing how he was on Raw, like with the guys being like, "Oh no, this angle is better," and like do this and do that. it shows the dude is creative.
Can we say he's the Miz of Raw?
The Miz of Raw? I don't know.
His mic skills are good, though.
Yeah.
I'll go give him that.
We'll give him that. His mic skills are good. The dude's a creative genius, like I said. Is he at the Miz's level? I don't know. Like, I can't.
He's getting there. I think he's going to get there. Yeah. He's going to be one of the major stars.
Of the show, basically. Of the show,
yeah. and that's really going to explode. I mean, it's already getting to that point where he's up there. All I think is that he just needs the title. If he gets a title around his waist, I think that's just going to make his career explode to another level.
And then, like, Bobby Lashley comes out and, like, he starts attacking him and, like, they start going at it. Obviously, they've been having a feud. I don't think they've had, like, a proper match. Make this the SummerSlam match for Elias. I mean, he did fight Seth Rollins the last pay-per-view.
Which I thought it was great.
He gave him a really good match.
Really good match.
And
really good match. And obviously, if Seth Rollins was going to lose the title...
Might as well just give it to Elias.
The next day at Raw, they should have just gave it to Elias.
Yeah, he completely deserved that.
That was one of his greatest matches that I've had, and he delivered. He was able to carry the match with Seth Rollins.
It was good. I really liked that match. But yeah, you pretty much said everything I was gonna say about him. Like, if Seth was just gonna lose the title like the next night, you might as well just had given it to Elias. And don't get me wrong, Ziggler is like probably at the prime of his career right now, but we've already seen Ziggler hold the Intercontinental Championship. We've seen what he can do with it. I wanted to see what Elias could do with it and like how he would push it forward. You know what I mean?
Bobby Lashley. What's next for him? I know we kind of haven't talked about him a lot.
Bobby Lashley, that's kind of a hard one because, like, first it was Roman, now it's Elias. I feel like after the whole Roman storyline, they were just kind of like, we're going with Roman, you'll do something else, and they just threw him with Elias. And don't get me wrong, this is pretty interesting because, like, they're both good on the mic. He has experience wrestling already. He knows how it works. And then you have Elias, who has great mic skills, who can just trigger you and make you want to watch a match. He wants, I don't know. I don't know what's next for him. Obviously, he's going to feud with Elias. I don't think they've confirmed a match for SummerSlam for them just yet. But if it doesn't end up happening, like, you can definitely see it happening in the future. Bobby, I see him becoming champion. I don't know when, but it's going to happen eventually. Like, he did not just come back to not do anything.
Yeah, they had to bring him back for a reason.
Exactly.
Either because they knew Brock Lesnar was going to leave.
And they needed, like, another top powerhouse, maybe to win the Rumble. I don't know. He's going to become champion at some point.
Yeah.
When? I don't know. How? I don't know that either because, we're still too far behind in the year. But I do know he's there for a reason, and that reason is to become the Universal Champion.
Yeah, it's just right now they don't
really have anything for him.
They really don't have, like you said, anything for him. He's just kind of there. Kind of like plan B, just back up to see what happens.
Yeah.
Throwing him out there, see what works and what doesn't work.
And they can't throw him back against Roman because, like, let's say Roman wins at SummerSlam. Who's going to feud with Roman? You can't put him against Lashley. We've already seen that. People are going to be like, really? We saw this?
Yeah, but if you really think about it, we've been seeing the same matches for the past...
Ever since WrestleMania.
No, since Extreme Rules.
We've been seeing the same matches.
If you really look at this match card for SummerSlam, for Raw,
it's basically
it's pretty much the exact matches we have at Extreme Rules, and now it's pretty much the same thing.
It's pretty much the same thing, just some of them have different stipulations. But
yeah, so it's like, don't be surprised if you see Roman
again
Lashley. That's if Roman wins the title at SummerSlam, which
we'll get into either later or next week.
But don't be surprised if Roman actually does win it and Lashley ends up feuding with them for the next couple of months.
Up until, whatever.
Yeah. So don't be surprised about the matches. Like I said, they've been the same since Extreme Rules. And
I don't see anything changing anytime soon.
Anytime soon. So that's that on
okay.
that.
Moving on. AOP. Rosar versus Titus O'Neil. I know you're kind of, I don't want to say big fan, but I know you are a big supporter
I really
of AOP.
like those guys ever since I saw them on NXT. I had told Araceli that those guys were going to be big time. They kind of remind me of the powerhouse, kind of like APA, with Bradshaw and what's his name? Ron Simmons.
Yeah.
And Ron Simmons. There you go. They kind of remind me of that, just straight power. I mean, those guys are gonna be future tag team champions in Raw.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I want to see them go for the championship. I mean, who are the champions right now for Raw? The tag champs. The B team, right?
The B team.
Yeah, put them up against them. That's something new. That's something we haven't seen. I mean, obviously.
I mean, if I was, I'll tell you this though. If I was a WWE superstar, I would have AOP be on my side. That would be my backup.
That would be your backup,
of course. That would be my backup. So I don't know. I just really like them. I really haven't seen their full potential yet, what they could do, but they caught my eye since I seen them, and then I told her that they were gonna have a pretty good run in the main roster. So hopefully they don't disappoint me, and do good.
He's only seen them a couple of times down in NXT, so he hasn't really seen like their full potential. And the time that he's seen them has been like live events or like takeovers that we've been to before WrestleMania. So it's gonna be very interesting to see. I do see them as future tag champs, though. Very, 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 very soon. Don't know how soon, but I do see them as champions very soon.
I think just in the Raw roster, nobody would be able to compete against them.
As of right now,
as a tag team, no. I really think there's no strong tag team in Raw that could physically compete with them. Yeah, and people may say, we have the Revival, but even then, I mean, they're just strict powerhouse. Like, it's kind of like the Bludgeon Brothers right now.
It's kind of
they're just like dominating all their competition.
Like, have you seen those guys wrestle? Exactly. AOP is at the top of the game right now.
Yeah.
I feel like they're slowly pushing them, which is something that I like, because they're not just fully going, here's the tag titles, run with it. They're kind of just like, okay, well, let's see
and I feel that
where we could go.
And I feel that that's where sometimes
they mess up because they just push
they just push a superstar and just give them a title without
thinking about it.
Yeah, without thinking about it, without testing them first to see how it reacts. And I think that's one of the mistakes that they've done. So hopefully they slowly build them up. I don't mind waiting for them, but as long as they get that big push in that title run, and like I said, let's just see how they do.
And if the build-up is good, then it's going to be worth the wait, It's not going to be something like, oh, they came into the main roster, immediately won, and then their career just completely went downhill. No, I want to see, like, the small build, really lengthy, leads to the tag championship, have a long title reign, or a very dominant, tag team title reign, and then go from there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Which is going to be worth it in the end.
I definitely agree with you, and I think that's what we both want for them.
That is what I want for them. But let's get into Titus O'Neil. I mean, I think pairing him... I think Dana has been a really good asset to them. There isn't really much we can say about them other than he's a comedic genius. I still cannot get over the fact that he just completely fell off. He fell when he was trying to go into his entrance at the Greatest Royal Rumble. That was just, you can tell that right there was not something that was planned. It just kind of happened. What else can we say about them, Armando?
I really don't have much to say about them. It's just, other than worldwide, it's just...
Let's leave it at this. I like the pairing. I like what they're doing with them now. But I would like to see more of them. Like, for example, I don't know why they haven't given them the tag championships. Maybe that's a possibility for them. It can probably take them to a whole new level. They do have a manager, Dana. I don't know. It's him and Apollo. They get along really well. They have good matches. That's all I can say about them at the moment. Like, there really isn't much and in-depth that I can go into with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably one of my favorite feuds going on Raw right now, Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman. But before we get into that, the Kevin Owens show came back. It made its debut again. It finally brought it back, and this time the special guest was Jinder Mahal. They kind of had him set up over at the stage, over by where commentary is, and they were just kind of talking, doing their own thing, and then Braun Strowman just completely, flips over the stage and now we're sitting in the middle of a match between Strowman and Jinder, which obviously we saw the week before, and again, it ends the same way.
Yeah, and I think it was just a setup from Kevin Owens. If you really see the Kevin Owens show, like Kevin Owens, it's freaking genius. He set up Jinder Mahal for that match, and
to prove his point.
To prove his point, he once again went out there and played mind games with Braun Strowman, which helped Jinder Mahal win the match by disqualification.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And do you think that's something he's going to use to his advantage? Yeah, now that he knows that he can distract the Braun Strowman, the monster, super easily.
Yeah,
he's going to use that to his advantage. And now consider this: Strowman can't lose either way, whether it be count out, whether it be disqualification. He can't lose.
Well, like what we say, Kevin Owens is just genius. Look how he set up Chris Jericho in the Festival of Friendship. So it's like don't be surprised if he gets something up his sleeve. You know,
he'll find a way. He'll
find a way. He'll find a way. So don't be surprised, and if he actually does win it. I wouldn't like to see Kevin Owens win it because I really want to see Braun Strowman be a future champion a Universal Champion in the future.
But that's something we'll talk about next week because that's part of our predictions as well. But yes, I do agree with that. You know, I like where they're going with it. This whole feud has just been super interesting. He got locked in a porta potty. He got thrown off the stage. You know, this has been going. It's been taking careers on a whole new level.
And like I said, these kind of feuds and these kind of I don't mind seeing for a long period of time because they're just been so creative and like you said, the porta potty.
The setup thing where he comes and just pushes him off the stage,
pushing him off the steel cage.
All this other stuff that has been like happening, you don't really see it that often. So you're like, oh, I'm interested in this. This is what I want to see.
I don't mind, and what
because it's different.
Could do, what Braun Strowman could do in the ring.
Yeah, and it's different. Like you're not seeing it weekly. Like for example, you go and like let's say you see this match like 3-4 times, right? 1, it has the same outcome. 2, you keep seeing it and you're just like, okay, well, I saw this and it was the same damn thing that I already saw. There's nothing new in this match, so what now, you know? And like this has been one of those matches that has gone on for a pretty long this has been one of those feuds that has gone on for not a really long time, but it's gone on for a fair amount of time, and each time they bring something else to the table. So just wanted to put that out there. Let's get into another match that we've already seen a couple of times.
But they're great.
But they have been great, so I can't really, complain when it comes to that. We have Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre versus Roman and Seth. But Roman couldn't take part of the match because Stephanie did say that if he came out ringside or he interfered in the match at any given point, he was gonna lose his title shot against Brock Lesnar. So obviously Roman was not about to show up, so it became a handicap where it was Ziggler and McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. Again, there's nothing we can say about Seth Rollins right now. He's at the top of his career. Ever since he came back from that injury, it's just kind of been go, 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 go. And he's proven himself each and every single time that he's better than ever.
And same thing, and I like the fact that they have him in a feud with Dolph Ziggler because Dolph Ziggler is just amazing. I've always been a fan of Dolph Ziggler and what he does in the ring, and you could tell the chemistry between Dolph and Seth Rollins is there. You could tell it's there.
And they're stealing.
Their matches are just good, and they're stealing the show. Like I thought that in Raw it was the best match of the night.
It was like, and it has been the best.
Same thing at Extreme Rules.
This feud and these matches that have been happening, like whether it be Drew and Seth or Dolph and Seth, they have been the best matches in Raw for the last couple of weeks. And you gotta admit that, like you gotta give it to both superstars. You can't just be like, oh, well, this match sucked. No, it didn't. It delivers. They bring something new to the table, and that's another thing that we were just getting into.
And McIntyre is just great. I think, in my opinion, that Dolph Ziggler and McIntyre are the best duo right now. They have we haven't had them in a tag team action yet as far as for the title, but don't be surprised if they're up there too. And I just think they're amazing what they've done with them.
Let's talk about something really, really quickly though. In that match, Dolph Ziggler wasn't the legal man, right?
That's right. A little controversy.
McIntyre was the legal man,
Yes.
and then some way, somehow, Dolph Ziggler got the pin. That makes no sense, but if we're wrong, please correct us. Let us know, like, in the comments, so we can, like, correct it. But last I remember, I don't remember seeing Dolph Ziggler or, you know, whoever was in there tag the other member.
You're
McIntyre
correct.
was in, and
McIntyre was a legal man.
For some reason, Dolph Ziggler was the one that got
the pinfall.
The pinfall. So, like, if we are wrong here, please let us know. If you saw the tag, tell us so that we can, you know, go back and rewatch it. And I will go back and rewatch it. But I don't remember that happening. So that's another thing that I just wanted to point out that I just kind of noticed. All right, let's get into someone that has... I guess you can say they started from the bottom. They were with Miz. They were part of the Mistrage. Now you got the B team. I mean, they're going up against. I don't know where they're going with the B team. I mean, Wyatt and Hardy. This is another one of the feuds that we've been seeing for the last couple of weeks. What can we really say about them? I'm proud of how far they've gotten so far. You know, like, they've become tag team champions.
I like their song, though.
You like their song?
B team. Go B team.
That is one of the things that when we saw the whole, like, the taped B team and the t-shirts, Armando was like, oh, this is going to become a shirt. This is going to be big. And sure enough, it was. Matt and Wyatt, though, I'm not tired of the pair just yet because there's so much. They're both creativity, like, up there. They can both do so many things with their characters, and they can, like, take other characters, other superstars to a whole new level. But it would be nice to see, you know, them feud against another tag team other than the B team. You know, I see the B team. They're now feuding with who? The Revival, right?
Yeah. But even then, don't be surprised if the B team comes up with the victory against the Revival, even though the Revival is a better tag team than them. And then just to follow up on Matt Hardy, there's been a lot of talk about him having an injury. And this is something I've noticed too since he's been in TNA. If you notice his movesets, they're not
what they used to be.
They're not what they used to be. They're not done as cleanly as they're supposed to be. And like, then if you notice how he stands, he just with the little like if he was
just kind of crouch a little bit.
Little crouch if he had like a little humpback.
Yeah.
If you notice that, look at his moves. Like when he jumps off the top rope, he really doesn't. You could tell that he's struggling to move.
And you know, like, it would suck to see him and Jeff retire because, I mean, they are legends when it comes to this business. They've done so much. They've put on some of the greatest matches, and, like, the tag team division is what it is, you know, and, like, they're so respected for a reason. They've earned that respect. And obviously, like, eventually they're going to have to retire. Well, I don't want to see it anytime soon.
I mean, the wrestling style that they both had of being extreme.
It's draining on your body.
It's just draining on them. They're at that age where they could compete, but physically, it's starting to catch up on them.
Yeah,
physically
that eventually
starting to catch up on them.
Yeah.
And I think Matt Hardy's already starting to feel it. Jeff Hardy has felt it for a while. Just his constant injuries. It's just all that abuse that they've been taking over the years.
Well, yeah, because the type of matches that they've had isn't something that is just like, okay, well, we had one match and it's gonna go away.
I mean,
no,
that's what
this has been their entire career.
That's why they're called Team Extreme.
Well, yeah, duh, but this is what they've done for their entire career. Like, they've had hardcore matches and extreme matches for, like, as long as I can remember, basically their entire career. So now it's like catching up to both of them, and it's like, it really sucks because they just came back a year ago. And they had one of the greatest returns in the history.
That was amazing.
Of the WWE.
We were there. We witnessed it.
It was one of the coolest moments, if not the coolest moment that I lived so far when it comes to
just
wrestling.
The pop was just amazing.
Everybody completely lost it. Like, it was crazy. The energy on inside that stadium
when they came out
was insane. I can
it's
still
like
remember
it's like my childhood dream of seeing them came out.
And it's crazy because I still talk about it and I still get goosebumps because I remember what it was like to be there at that very second. It's crazy. All right, the Paul Heyman interview that he had backstage with Renee Young, really, really quickly, like, the moment I saw him, I was like, he looks terrified. He looks traumatized. It looks like he was not okay. He was crying at some point. Yeah. All I can really say is, whatever happens at SummerSlam, whether he betrays Brock Lesnar or not, it's going to be very interesting to see what Paul Heyman does. I don't want to see him kind of say bye just yet. I feel like he has a lot left in him for him to do. Maybe even manage one of the women. That would be pretty interesting to see.
I would like to see him with Ronda.
That would be really cool, like,
think about it. You have
the big powerhouse of the woman,
exactly.
The baddest woman alive, with Paul Heyman. That would be super cool, like, I would like to see that, but we'll see what they decide to do with them. Armando, is there anything else you would like to say about that?
No.
I pretty much covered it.
You pretty much covered it all.
Alright, let's get into the last two matches of the night. Sasha Banks and Bayley against the Riot Squad. Again, another match we've been seeing
and most
lately.
likely we're going to see it at
SummerSlam again.
With the return
of Ruby Riott, who has been injured. She came back at the very end of the match. It was really cool because I was like, what the hell? Who is that with the hoodie on? And I was just like, it's going to be very interesting to see what they decide to do, how that goes on. One of the very interesting things that I saw is that their gear represents them, and I was telling this to Armando.
We were talking about it during the match when we were watching it.
Because I was watching it, and when it comes to the women, I can pretty much tell. Like, I'm really good at knowing what's wrong and what's going on and, like, the feuds and all this stuff, right? And so I see them, and I'm just like, wait, Armando, I just realized something. And he's like, what? I was like, their outfits basically represent each other. I was like, you have the dark side, which is, like, black, right? And it has, like, a few of the yellow and a couple of red and stuff. That's Sasha, and, like, the small little portions of color that it has is Bayley blending into Sasha, right? And then you have the bright side, which is the blue side with the yellow and the red and black. That is Bayley, and then eventually it comes together and they blend, which is why.
Yeah, they all have a part of each other in the gear.
Yeah,
which represents their friendship.
Yeah, it pretty much represents them. Another one of the things that we saw, it's what we saw it on Instagram. It was Sasha's Instagram where she said.
Oh yeah, on one of the.
I forget exactly what she said. Oh, here's what she said. Connection is ready to the Boss and her connection is ready to dominate the tag team division. Hashtag, did I say that? Hashtag, say it out loud. Hashtag evolution. This is hinting at something, people. Come on. Even the WWE story even had them saying maybe tag champs or something like that. It's gonna happen.
And don't get me wrong, the storyline, the build up towards them being a tag team right now
was pure genius.
It's genius, because we were all expecting them to feud at WrestleMania and nothing happened. We expected them to feud, I believe, Extreme Rules too. So we've been waiting for them to feud for a while.
We've been waiting for it since WrestleMania, and it hasn't happened.
All of a sudden, they have this connection again. They're clicking again, and they're best friends again. So I thought the build-up was awesome. That was pure genius.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, damn, they're a tag team, and they're coming for those tag team titles. It might not be at Evolution, or it might even be at Evolution. Who knows? But if there is a tag team championship, they're the ones to win it, if not the Iconic, if not the Bellas. But we'll get more into that later. One last thing, Ronda and Alicia. I was looking at the time. Don't get me wrong. I was really scared because I was like, it is 8:03. And Raw usually ends at 8:05. Are they really about to give them a 2-minute match? Which, don't get me wrong, it's Ronda. Obviously, she doesn't need that much time. Especially not against Alicia, not taking anything away from Alicia. But I do want to emphasize that, and I do want to say that, like, I was scared. I was like, oh my god, they're only gonna get 2 minutes, really?
Yeah.
But this match was I mean, it was all right.
Yeah, there wasn't really much to say about the match. And following on that, on the 2 minutes that they got, which I think they should have got more. They can't be
They
doing.
did get more though.
They can't be doing
They
that.
went overtime.
They can't be doing that at Evolution.
No, yeah, you cannot have 2-minute matches at Evolution. That is a problem. That is not okay. If that happens, there's gonna be a lot of angry fans because.
So that's why, like, following back on last week's podcast, it's either gonna make them or break them.
Exactly.
And I think it's gonna make them. Hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers because I really want them to be successful in this pay-per-view.
Okay, so SmackDown. This is the show to watch every week. I think it's better than Raw. I believe we could all agree on that.
It's always been better, no doubt about it.
It's always been better, yeah, it has. It's just they've always pushed Raw to being the best, when in reality it's always been SmackDown. Anyways, let's get into the beginning of the show. Randy Orton opened up the show, and he was like, he basically, to make a really long story short, because he talked for about 10 to 15 minutes, I'll make it really short for you guys. He said, he was like, oh, well, I'm going to earn back the respect of the people in the locker room, of the people, you know, the WWE universe, of basically everybody. And to be honest, it's like, now that he's a heel, I'm looking forward to see, like, what else he has to bring to the table, because we've already seen a lot of his feuds, like, back in the day. I mean, he debuted when, in 2002, 2001. He was known as the Viper. Yeah. He had some of the greatest runs in his career as a heel.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of when he was the Legend Killer.
Yeah, so, like, that's coming back, because if you look at the Viper and the Legend Killer, it's like...
two different ones, but...
kind of the same. They're really dominant. They know how to get you engraved into a storyline, and that's basically what he's doing with Jeff Hardy and what's going on there. Armando was telling me that he thinks this is...
the return of...
Brother Nero.
Brother Nero. So, it could happen. Be open-minded to that option. And just because he said he's fed up with Jeff Hardy, and all the face painting, and he took the Hardy logo off Jeff Hardy's neck. So
yeah, the Hardy necklace.
Don't be surprised if Jeff Hardy actually does become Brother Nero.
But like I said, I look forward to seeing, you know, where this is all just gonna go. He's had some of the greatest runs of his career as a heel. And I feel like everybody has waited for this for a super, super long time. And we're finally going to get it, so...
yeah, we'll just see what happens, and excited to see what's next for Randy Orton.
Okay, let's get into the women really quickly, because they had back-to-back matches. The first match of the night was Becky and Charlotte versus the Iconics, and then Carmella was on commentary. Let me just point out, this match was fantastic from beginning to the end. It was like both sides dominated, both sides gave us something to be looking forward to in the match. And I do want to mention something that we did mention last week. It's about quality. This match was the quality. They could have got it in 5 minutes, but with the quality of the match that they had, I would have been completely okay with that, because they both tag teams had some, like, amazing match. And this is between Becky and Charlotte, and then the Iconics. You know, like, we've seen their matches down in NXT. They all came from down there. So I feel like this match was...
it was good. I really liked it.
It was really good, yeah.
I have to agree with this on you. I think Becky and Charlotte are two of the top talents in the SmackDown division as far as women. Again, they're part of the four horsewomen that came up. The Iconics... I really like them. They're a future tag team. They're the future of the tag team of the women's division.
Yeah, they've proven themselves.
You know, so far, they've proven themselves. They got great mic skills, and so far some great
matches so far.
Great in-ring performance also.
It's crazy because like they all came from NXT. And we get to see, like, them develop, and now on the main roster, they're giving you all these matches that you're, you know, looking forward to. And I'm like super excited to see what they decide to do with them. Again, I do want to see them as tag champs. Becky and Charlotte, like you said, are part of the Horsewoman. They remind me kind of like Sasha and Bayley from Raw, where it's kind of like the two Horsewomen of each division are kind of running the tag division right now, even though like, you know, they're going for the championship at SummerSlam, but we'll get into that next week. Point is, I loved this match. I thought it was really good from both sides. Like, I have nothing negative to say about it. You, Armando?
Nothing. Like I said, I agree with you 100% on this match.
And, like, given the opportunity, they can deliver, you know, and I hope they really incorporate...
especially Becky and Charlotte.
I hope they incorporate this into Evolution and really take notes as to what the fans want and what they're looking for when it comes to the women's matches. AJ Styles finally came back this week. He was only gone for a week. I say it like he was gone like forever. He wasn't gone forever. He was only gone for like a week.
Yeah, because we're used to seeing him every
single week. That it's weird when you don't see him, right? He did talk about what Samoa Joe said about his family. Basically, his entire promo was just about how he's always gone from his family, like every other WWE superstar. Not taking anything away from AJ, of course. You know, you guys know how I feel about him, greatest in-ring performer of this generation. But I was kind of just like, really? Like, this is all we have for AJ? Like, he didn't even have a match? Nothing. The promo was just about his family. I have nothing against their family, to put that out there, but it's just kind of like, we could do better. They could do better, you know, with the brand that he's in right now and being the WWE champion. I mean, I feel like there's so many ways they could have gone portraying the storyline.
They could have. I just think they don't want to have him in action because they know if they have AJ in action in SmackDown, Samoa Joe might come out and put him to sleep. So I think that's why they're holding back on him.
It's funny because...
And don't be surprised if we don't see him in action next week.
It's funny because it's kind of like what Stephanie does. She wants to protect the main event. So it's kind of like, are they even going to main event?
I don't think
Probably
they're
not.
not going to main event, but Samoa Joe
that's going to be something.
AJ Styles should be the main event.
That match is worth protecting.
It is. It's like Shinsuke and AJ Styles. I personally, and you're probably going to agree with me, thought that AJ and Shinsuke should have main event to WrestleMania this year, at least.
That should have been the main event. But let's not get into that right now because it's a whole nother subject. That's another part of like controversy that I don't want to talk about right now. We'll probably make a video about it later. Okay, let's get into another match that we saw last week, but I don't mind seeing this because this is like a really interesting feud. Zelina Vega versus Lana. Again, every single time Zelina and Andrade are out there, it's a 10 no matter what they do, whether they just talk, whether they wrestle, whatever it is. I love it. This time Rusev came out with Lana, and again, Aiden English cost her the match with Zelina Vega. I love the pairing between Andrade and Zelina. I think they work really well together. They have chemistry.
And it's something unique we've seen so far. We really don't see male being a manager for a female. And so that kind of brings something new to the table.
Yeah, it does. And like, you know, Rusev was out there, but it's different because it's like, you know, they're together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, he's not, you know that they're not going to make him be a manager full-time to her. Whereas Andrade and Zelina, they can alternate and it works, you know? She can manage him and he can manage her and it works perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And she does take some stuff from his books, like wrestling moves.
Yeah.
And that's really cool because it's like, okay, we see Andrade do them, now we get to see her do them as well. And it's like, it really proves like what she's got in the ring, and I knew she was a wrestler like way before this. Let's get into this. Was honestly, like, regardless of the main event, this is what I loved. R-Truth comes out and you just gotta love R-Truth. You just gotta love R-Truth. Like, there's no way to describe it. Basically, make a long story short, Renee was interviewing Shinsuke, and then R-Truth comes out and he's like, I want a match against you for your United States Championship. And then Shinsuke was like, what? And then he's like, how are you going to do that? Because he was with Ty Dillinger, right? And then he's like, how are you going to do that? He's like everybody else does around here, I'm going to pin Carmella. It was just...
I thought it was the funniest thing ever.
It was the funniest thing. It was hilarious.
I was just waiting for him to say, oops, it's on me.
My bad. We just had to bring that up really quickly because it was hilarious. You gotta love our Trizzle.
What's up?
Okay.
Sorry, just had to do that.
Let's get into The Miz. So The Miz comes out to promote Miz and Mrs. again, you know. And then Daniel Bryan, they're having an encounter, you know, they're pretty much... Daniel Bryan comes out and they didn't come out on the Titron, sorry, my bad. He comes out and meets him backstage, kind of, and he just completely just... They have a brawl backstage, to say.
Yeah.
At the set of Miz and Mrs. And this is what I mean by that. This was a Mania-worthy feud. Like, Bryan goes backstage or to the Miz and Mrs. Set.
Yeah, or whatever you guys want to call it.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. We all know it's backstage. You know, they just say that it's not. But it is backstage. And then they go, and then, like, what did he do? Miz hit him with the base on the head, right?
Yeah, he hit him with
the base.
The vase right on his head.
See, this is a Mania-worthy feud. We should have gotten it 8 months from now at WrestleMania. But, you know, if we do get it again, then I hope it's a better build than what it's already been. But this has been years in the making.
It has. And I feel that when feuds are years in the making, it just makes it even better. It just makes you more ancient to want to watch that event. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the build-up is so awesome, you just want to watch it.
Yeah, and you might be like, oh, well, this match is going to suck. Like, everybody thought Miz and Maurice versus Nikki and John was going to suck. Yeah. But then the feud was so good that you're like, oh my God, I got to watch this.
I can't wait to see this, yeah.
Exactly, same thing.
So the build-ups have a huge part.
They play a huge role.
In all the matches.
Of course. Like, if your build-up sucks, you're not going to be interested. It doesn't matter if you're the two top guys in the business. If your build-up sucks... Even if
the match is not as good, but if the build-up is good,
then
it's so worthy of the match. You're
going
to forget about the match. You're always going to remember the build-up.
Exactly. So, we'll see where they go. We'll let you guys know next week what our prediction for that match is, because we will have a SummerSlam prediction podcast. Let's get into the last two matches. Yeah, SmackDown is really short. I wish it was longer.
But it's great.
It is. It's great.
Short matches, great.
Like we've said about the women, quality over quantity. So they get less time, but the quality of the show is so much better than Raw. Somebody help Raw, please. Anyways, Shinsuke Nakamura against R-Truth. Obviously, this match happened because of the backstage encounter that they had where he said he was going to pin Carmella. But, I mean, Shinsuke Nakamura defeated R-Truth. It's pretty obvious. Yeah. It wasn't a bad match. It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
It was entertaining.
It was entertaining, yeah. Whenever R-Truth is on your TV, you just have to be entertained. It doesn't matter what's going on. You will be entertained. You know what I mean? I like the match. I'm wondering what they're gonna do with Shinsuke, because correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I remember, he doesn't have a proper storyline going into SummerSlam, correct?
He doesn't. He's just floating around there between Jeff Hardy and
Randy. Yeah, so he doesn't fully have one. So we'll see who his opponent is.
But don't be surprised if during this week SmackDown.
Next week's SmackDown.
Yeah, next week's SmackDown. If Randy somehow slithers his way into maybe a triple threat match.
Maybe. We'll see.
Who knows? Who knows yet?
We'll see what ends up happening, but I do want to see what they have next for him, because ever since he won the Royal Rumble, like, he was on a losing streak, hasn't won. Obviously, I think they lost hope.
He's been on a slump. He's just been... Yeah.
But I feel like they lost hope on him losing the WWE Championship, which is why he hasn't even won it. I mean, he feuded with AJ up until when? Money in the Bank?
I believe so. It was for a couple months.
Yeah, it was for a few months. So it was just like, okay, you guys lost all hope, so now you're giving him the U.S. Championship, like we've said before, which is good for somebody's career, because you actually get to see what they do and how they develop. But the man won the Rumble. I was expecting him to be champion by now. But we'll see what, his match is by next week. Alright, let's get into the main event. And this match was worthy of the main event. I do believe this was the best match of the night, if not of the last two shows, Raw and SmackDown. The Bar versus the New Day. The Bar, we finally get to see them on TV again. I believe they were on TV last week as well too. But they're a good pairing.
They are, and I just don't know why they're not on TV as much. I mean, they proved this week
that they belong
at the top.
Yeah, or at least somehow end up being on TV.
I don't get how they don't have a storyline.
I don't know, man, but they deserve a storyline. Even if it's feuding with like
whoever.
Yeah, whoever.
There's a whole bunch of tag teams they could feud with. It's just so much potential in the SmackDown tag team division that it's unpredictable.
But see, here's my problem though. Like the Bludgeon Brothers, what have they done ever since they won the championship? Not much. So it's like you have people like the New Day, you have people like the Usos, people like the Bar who could be champions, but you have the Bludgeon Brothers, and I understand why.
Do you know who I want to see as tag team champions?
Who?
Is Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson.
Which brand are they on? Remind me.
They are.
Because I feel like I haven't seen them in a while.
SmackDown.
They're in SmackDown, right?
Yeah, they're in SmackDown.
And they haven't come out in a while, right?
They haven't come out.
Okay, good. I'm just double checking and checking my facts, because sometimes he remembers things better than I do. See, you have them too. And then, like, the Bludgeon Brothers, in my opinion, and this is not to get anybody upset, but I don't feel like they've done anything as tag champs.
They haven't, but nobody's been able to keep up with them so far.
Yeah.
They've been dominating.
It would be really good to put them up against AOP, like at Survivor Series. You know how they have, like, the Raw brand versus the SmackDown brand? That I would love to see. But in order for that to happen, AOP has to win the tag champs so that they can go on to face the Bludgeon Brothers. That would be a really good match.
That would be a really good match.
To see. I would want to see that. So if anybody important is listening to this, make it happen, because I want to see that match. And Armando wants to see that match. And I'm pretty sure you guys want to see that match. So just putting it out there. The New Day. These guys get more and more creative as time goes on. Kofi. Oh my god, this guy is the most creative out of the three, I believe. Because if you look at like his history in the Rumble, dude always has some new way of not getting eliminated.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
So it's like he's either, walking on his hands, or he's like jumping, or, like this year I think the New Day boosted him up or something like that.
Yeah, I think New Day caught him and then they put him back on the ring.
They put him back on the thing. So see, he's so creative and he delivered. To me, he was the MVP of this match, because it was just insane.
Most important thing is he always brings something new to the table.
Yeah, he always has something new. Like, you'll look and you'll be like, I've never seen that before. What was that? And you think it's even more awesome. Why? Because you've never seen it before. Whereas if you see things on a weekly basis and you're like, okay, well, that's just, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But Kofi, props to the guy. He did a fantastic job. That's all I can say about the New Day.
Yeah, New Day. I think it's time for the New Day to beat the Bludgeon Brothers, and I think they're going to be the next tag team champs.
You think so?
I think they're going to be the next tag team champs.
There's so many people that they can feud with down in SmackDown.
Not only the feuds, but the reaction they're getting. They know how to work the crowd.
Oh yeah, they do know how to work the crowd. They're still super over. It's been 2 years, 3 years now, and the crowd still treats them the same. They still sell the same amount of merch. It's crazy the pops that they get.
Don't be surprised if they catch up to the Dudleys in the most tag team championships. So just to throw it out there. That's why I think they're gonna win. Not only because they're good, but I feel it's time for them to regain what they lost.
Alright guys, that's all we have for you guys on this episode of Wrestling with Siblings. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. We love all you guys. We appreciate you guys. Join us next week on a brand new episode of Wrestling with Siblings.
I'm Armando. And once again, thank you for listening. Next week, gonna be one hell of a show. All the predictions for SummerSlam. Don't miss out.
You want to be here for this. Trust me. You want to be here. You never know. We might have some spoilers coming.
Spoilers!
Instead of predictions, they may be spoilers. But keep it here on Wrestling with Siblings, as Armando said. I'm Araceli.
I'm Armando.
And
thank you. Love you guys.
And we'll see you guys next week.